I started the title was first called Nothing is Real. And then I realized that, well, to the separate self, everything is real. So in a way, everything is real and nothing is real. So you've all heard probably statements such as nothing is real or nothing exists. But what does that actually mean, and how is it knowing this helpful? Right? Perhaps you've heard the statement that the egoic self is an illusion or not real. Or you've even heard that a chair or a table or any object is not real. That it's simply a fabrication or creation of the mind. Or perhaps you've heard that everything is either a thought or perception, and it has no existence otherwise. So does this mean that there's nothing there to be experienced? So what does it mean? So in this talk, I really want to look at what is meant by these statements and why we so often don't see the real. And then also I want to always have some warnings about how easy it is to misinterpret statements about reality, and I'll talk about that closer to the end. And then also, what are the profound implications of realizing the truth of reality? So often, what deep exploration of what is real only comes about for human beings during times of great difficulty. Right? We've talked about this in those moments when we glimpse truth. We glimpse something greater than our usual sort of personal daily dramas that are occurring, or the content of our thoughts. We transcend, in a sense, the virtual reality that's created in our minds. And we see that the virtual reality that's created in our minds ultimately leads to a sense of disconnections and ultimately suffering. So first, let's explore whether do we see reality as it is. That's, I guess, the first thing we have to look at. We can look to science. Neuroscientists have concluded that we don't simply construct reality in our brains, but we reconstruct it. And I'll maybe give you an example here. Consider the appearance of a red apple on a table 1 meter in front of you. Is that the reality of it? When we open our eyes and have the perception of such an apple, are we interacting with reality? But reality is not a red apple 1 meter on a table in front of you. The brain and the neurons within the brain are simply reconstructing the red apple. And these are really species specific sets of symbols. It's not reality. Other species reconstruct their realities in different ways. Pigeons, for example, see from what I'm told by scientists, in 4 dimensions. My dog Rocky, I think, pretty much experiences the world through the sense of smell. So all these are the version of reality that we receive is simply neurons and reconstructed symbols and processes in our brains. So the reality that is experienced by a pigeon or a dog is a species-specific reality, just as it is for humans. So I hope you can kind of see that what we can conceive through thought and what we perceive through our senses is simply a reconstructed reality in the brain. It doesn't correspond to reality as it is. And and we assume that this is reality as it is, right? We kind of believe that, okay, this is the reality. The reality that I'm seeing is the reality. But our brains are really going through a process of creating and reconstructing this reality. So we're kind of misperceiving or misinterpreting, I guess might be a better word, our perceptions that are coming in through the senses. And this shouldn't be surprising. I mean, we've done it throughout history. We used to think the earth was flat because it looked that way. Right? It simply looked that way. Pythagoras discovered that this is incorrect. So we ditched that perception, and then we thought, well, the earth isn't flat, but the earth is an unmoving center of the universe, and everything else moves around the earth. And of course, I think it was Copernicus and Galileo discovered that that's not correct. So we ditched that perception. We discovered that it was incorrect. And I think we have perhaps come to the point where we may soon be discovering that our perceptions of all of reality are in fact misinterpretations. Then we can move on to discovering what constitutes the truth of reality. And the truth of reality is always there to be discovered. Right? It's always there. But first, we must let go of our false assumptions about our perception of reality, that we think what we're receiving through our senses and our conception is the reality. So I hope that that's kind of our starting point in this work, you could say. It's there to be discovered. In fact, you yourself, you embody the real. You're a manifestation of the essence of ultimate reality. So it's not out there. We're not going to find truth or what's real out there, but rather right here, looking within yourself. So the truth of reality can be discovered by anyone by looking inside at your direct experience. So looking inside, that's why we're always, doing these meditations that bring us looking inside. So why do we overlook the truth as what is real? I mean, one is the false assumptions that I talked about. Another is that the egoic mind really does not want to know the truth because it sees it as involving its apparent death. The egoic mind would instead like to explore very complicated ideas about truth rather than seeing truth directly. I really went through this process on my path where I was really believing the egoic mind and saying, oh, you need to read one more book. If you just read one more book, truth will reveal itself. Or you talk to one more teacher, or you just don't have the right teacher. You don't have the right to. You just gotta complicate it more and more and more. And at some point, I realized that the egoic mind was simply taking me on a little journey of its own, and it wasn't a journey towards truth. The egoic mind will go to extreme lengths to resist truth. So what is real and what is unreal? Okay, the world we perceive through our senses is an illusion, you could say, created by the minds, right? It's an illusion in the sense that it's just a reconstituted virtual reality. So nothing exists to us prior to the mind conceiving it and perceiving